Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. Shashal says, "You make God look good." Wow. Let me jump on the words of Shashal Ubuntu. I want to jump on the words, on the comment of Shashal Ubuntu. She says, "You make God look good." Amazing. Amazing. You make God look good. Wow. How do I approach that now? You make God look good. I've never seen a comment like that. Let me try to comment on that. The tragedy of our time and the tragedy of life is that not too many people know God. The reason why it comes across as if I make God look good is only because the God that we have been presented has not been the real God. Or the way we have presented God has discredited him. So because people have discredited God in their presentation of God and in their representation of God, people now have a confused view of God. People now have an unfair view of God. And people think God is anything but good. And people think that God is harsh, difficult, wicked, ununderstanding, not faithful. So when we now come across somebody who presents the real God and how he looks and who God really is, and believe me, I am not even presenting 1% of God. I am not even able to present 1% of the reality of who God is. But the little I'm able to present to you, especially through this medium, is making you to feel that God is so good that you are even tempted to believe that it is me that is making him to look so good. But whereas it's the opposite. It is God that is making me look so good. It is God that is making me look so cute. It is God that is making me look so loving. It is God that is making me look so kind. It is him that is making me look so authentic. It is because of a little glimpse of him that I got. I managed to get a glimpse of God aside religion, apart from religion. God has helped me to get a hold of God in my own personal way, to discover God by myself without the church and without religiosity. Because I got born again watching television, and 6 months later, I moved over to this place. I moved over to Russia. And here there was no church. So I had to grow to learn to discover God by myself. I learned to grow to discover God all by myself. So the person you are seeing now, maybe I am a little bit, I model God better than some people. Maybe I communicate him, his goodness and his love a little bit more effectively than some people. But it is not because I am the one that makes God look good, but it is because I discover the real God as against discovering the religious of God, or the religion God, or the religiosity of God, or the religion around God. God had helped me to discover God on a personal level, and I'm just trying to to show you how God. What I say to people here where I am is that you don't need to look for God if you meet Pastor Sunday. You only need to meet me. You don't need to look for God anymore. Anytime you meet me, your search for God stops. If you could meet me You don't need to search for God anymore. The only thing, if you doubt that there is God, if you don't know there is God, you don't need to struggle. Just meet me. Why am I sure that if you meet me, you meet God? It's because if you will meet me, I will reveal him to you. Why? He is in me. He lives in me. I try to copy him. I try to reflect him. I try to be like him. And I will do my best to reflect him to you. Actually, that's the way it's supposed to be with every Christian. Nobody should be doubting God. And nobody should be looking for God in our world. They only need to see us. And once they see us, we are supposed to be revealing God to them so clearly that they should not have any doubt whatsoever any longer. We are supposed to be revealing and demonstrating God so well that people are easily convinced of his love and his genuinity and his authenticity and his kindness. But because we know less of God and more of religion, unfortunately, people get a distorted view about God. They get a distorted view about God. And they think God is not the thing they desire. But in the real sense, everybody needs this God. And everybody is actually desiring to have him. Only they don't know. They don't have people who could reveal him to them the way God really is for real. But I am happy and I'm flattered that Shashal Ubuntu has never met me. I don't know where Shashal is watching from. Maybe Canada, maybe Uganda, maybe Kenya, maybe Tanzania. But she's never met me and I've never met her. But this forum is enough for her to be able to make that statement. Maybe she doesn't even know how powerful that statement she just made is. She says, Pastor, you make God look good. You make God look good. That is how we are supposed all to be. We are supposed to be demonstrating the goodness of God, the love of God, the authenticity of God, the genuinity of God, the greatness of God. Each one of us are supposed to be demonstrating that. Because God doesn't have a body. God doesn't have a hand. He doesn't have a voice. I mean, like ours, he needs us to reveal him. And this is a compliment. This is a good compliment that I am revealing God. I am making good. I am making God look good. I am revealing God in this best way possible, not in the religious way. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right, here we come. The topic of today is how to believe God when things are impossible. How to believe God when things are impossible. That's the topic of today. How to believe God when things are impossible. So, you know what? The reality of life, sorry for that. If you have not shared your link and you have not gotten the copy of this message yet, you might want to go and get it. If you want to go get a copy of this message, just press the share button. Press that share button, please. Once you press the share button, you get a copy. Okay, how to believe God when things are impossible. How to believe God when things are impossible. Well, Hebrews 11, we keep on studying the scripture. How to believe God when things are impossible. You know what? Either we like it or not, sooner or later in life, we are all faced with impossible situations. We are all faced with impossible situations. We are all faced with impossible situations. And if you don't have, and you never faced that before, believe me or not, situations come up in life. And there will be a time in life when you discover that things are not just working. And even God himself will make sure that you get to such a situation. God himself will make sure that you get to that place where, you come to the end of yourself. God himself will make sure that you feel helplessness and you feel that there's nothing that you can do. So the state and the reality of impossibility is a real reality in the world, in people's lives. There are people facing impossible situations as we're talking right now. There are people facing situations that they think they would never come out of, even right now as we're speaking. So the reality of impossibilities and impossible situations is real. Things happen. Things happen that are beyond us. Things happen that are overwhelming to us. Things happen that are difficult to us. That's why people suffer depression. That is why people commit suicide. That is why people, lose their mind. And because, life could be tough sometimes, guys. Life could be tough sometimes. So either we like it or not, we need this message. Because, anytime you actually face a situation like that, when a time like that comes, when you will be faced with impossible situation, you should be able to know what to do. You should be able to know what to do. And that's what I want to teach you today. I want to teach you today what to do when you are faced with impossible situations. What to do when you are faced with impossible situations. When you come into that situation at that time in your life or that season in your life when everything looks impossible, when things look like nothing is working, and when things look like nothing will ever work. What are we going to do? What do you do? And how can we learn from people who have lived before us, who have faced similar situations of impossibilities? If they were able to come out of it, if there is a way that God used to bring them out of it, it means that there are actually, strategies, wisdom, principles that could be applied and adopted when you are faced with impossible situations, and that you'll be able to adopt. If you adopt those principles, and if you press those buttons, if you apply the same wisdom that they applied, things will change. Just like it changed for them, it's going to change for us as well. So the question is, how ready are you? Or how ready are you going to be in a situation of impossibility, or in a time of impossibility? Because impossibility in impossible situations of life, we either sink or we swim. We either sink or we swim, or we either sink or we float or we swim. So for us not to sink. That's why I want us to share this situation that, we should know how to behave, how to apply our faith in times of hardship so that we don't sink, but we swim. Now, unfortunately, many times when pastors and preachers have preached the gospel and spoken about Abraham, because today I'm going to talk about Abraham, people have presented it as if it's a story. So we all know the story of Abraham, and we are talking about Abraham, and we know everything he did. We know all his achievements and all his feats, but we don't kind of get it that the reason why God put Abraham and his stories in the Bible is for us to be able to emulate him. It's for us to be able to recall the same achievements. It's for us to be able to record the same feat. It's for us to be able to behave like him in similar situations and circumstances that we find ourselves in. So let's go to this scripture about Abraham, and about this message today is we're going to be reading from Hebrews 11 verses 11 to 12. Hebrews 11 verses 11 to 12. Hebrews 11 to 12. The Bible says, by faith, Sarah herself Yeah, by faith, Sarah herself also received strength to conceive seed, and she bore a child when she was past the age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. She judged God faithful who had promised. Therefore, from one man, and him as good as dead, were born as many as the stars of the sky, a multitude, innumerable as the sand which is by the seashore. Now, you know the story, I know the story, but now let's learn the principle. Sarah was 75 years old. Nobody gives birth at 75 years old. Nobody gives birth at 75. I think she gave birth at 90. She gave birth at 90. God called them when she was 75, but she gave birth at 90, I think. And when you are 90 years old, there is no possibility of you ever getting pregnant. When you are 90 years old, there is no possibility of you ever giving birth. I mean, it's an illusion. Forget it. Forget it. If it's a mirage, it will never happen. It will never happen. It doesn't happen. Things like that don't happen. But by faith, you see, there is a dimension of faith that could help you to deal with impossibilities. There is a dimension of faith that will take you from the realm of possibilities into the realm of impossibilities. And there is a dimension of faith that will cause you to deal with any kind of impossibility in your life. So that's the dimension of faith. So that dimension of faith must be revealed to us. All of us must get acquainted with that level of faith and with that kind of faith. So, at 90 years old, that is truly an impossible situation. When you are faced with barrenness at 90, just forget it. Give up. Just give up. I mean, it's pointless. It's pointless to try to do anything, to try to dream of having a child at 90. Well, but through faith, Sarah herself received that strength. She needed faith to cause her to do the impossible. She needed faith to cause her body to do the impossible. She needed faith to cause her organism to receive the pregnancy and receive the strength of the seed and sustain that seed even at 90 years old. So, and then she bore a child when she was past the age. Why? Because she believed. So faith made impossible things to become possible. And that is the faith that I want us to talk about today. How do we get to a situation whereby through faith we make things that are impossible to become possible in our lives? And like I said, all of us are going to be faced with impossible situations. Either you like it or not, there are going to be things in life. Things happen in life that will make you to face impossible situations. And when that happens, what do? Do you swim or you sink? For you not to sink, but swim, that's why we are going through this situation. Let's look at another example of somebody that was faced with impossible situation. And let's see how that person managed to turn the situation around, but it is still through faith. So principle number 1, Luke 1:37 to 38. Luke chapter 1, 37 to 38. Luke chapter 1, 37 to 38. We will see how this principle was adopted here by Mary, 37 to 38. When God appeared to Mary, when an angel appeared to Mary and told her that she was going to give birth to a child without a husband, in verse 34, Mary said, "How can this be, since I do not know a man?" That is showing that Mary could not believe it, and she knows that without a man, she was a virgin. How can I be a virgin and give birth to a child? And she knew this is impossible. And she expressed her feelings. She expressed her feelings to God that this is impossible. You see, unfortunately, many of us today, we become so religious that we cannot even dispute the words of our pastors. But here was Mary, a human being, a little girl, and she was disputing the words of an angel of God. Even an angel appeared to her, and she was able to argue with the angel. She was able to challenge the angel that this is not possible. What you are telling me is going to be possible. This is not possible that I'm going to be pregnant when I don't have a husband, when I've never been with a man. How can I ever become pregnant? And so some of us today will be so afraid of challenging our pastors, of asking our pastors questions because of control, because of fear. Our relationship with God is not supposed to be based on that kind of fear of man and the kind of control and that limits us even from speaking what we're thinking. So our churches is full of hypocritic people who are thinking one thing and doing another thing. People who never tell you what they are thinking. People who say yes, 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 sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. But in the real sense, they have their own ideas, they have their own thoughts, and they have their own, opinion about what you are doing and what you are saying. But really, we should build a system, a church system, a fellowship of Christians, whereby people will be free to express themselves, of course, with honor and respect. I'm sure Mary showed honor and respect here, but because she was so free, she was free enough to ask questions from this angel. She was free enough to challenge this angel and say, what are you telling me? If you are telling me, that I'm going to be pregnant without getting having a husband, this is impossible. And then the angel kept on convincing her. And the angel said, it's going to happen. The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the highest will overshadow you. Therefore also that the Holy One who is to be born will be called the Son of God. Now indeed, then he told her about Elizabeth to strengthen her faith. So the angel here came up to strengthen the faith and to help Mary believe. You see, could God have done this thing, make her pregnant without her faith, without her believing, without getting, a corresponding response from her? Of course, God is God. God is almighty. But because we are living on the earth, God still needs your own permission sometimes. God needs your own obedience. God needs you to abide by the laws, by his principle that he has already laid down. Mary needed to release her faith. Mary needed to believe. It is only when Mary has believed that miracle becomes possible. So that is why the angel was spending time with her and sowing the seed of faith in her. Sowing the seed of faith in her. One of the seed of faith that was sown in her is the fact that he told her that, the Holy Spirit will come, it will be upon you. And then another seed of faith is that this is going to be a special child that you are. So sowing a seed of faith. And then he sowed another seed of faith and said, you know what? Your sister-in-law or your distant relative, Elizabeth, she's been pregnant. She's been barren all her life too. But you see, another sign for you as a seed of faith is that you will discover that she too is pregnant. So what am I saying? Whenever you are faced with an impossible situation, whenever you are faced with impossible situation, say it. Be free enough, just like Mary was free to say, Pastor, I don't have faith for this, or I find this difficult to believe, or this looks impossible to me. Speak your mind. Don't be slavery. Don't be like a slave in your mind. Don't be under the bondage of some fear. Just speak the truth. Just speak the truth and say, okay, I don't have faith for this. I don't believe this. So the first thing for you to do when you are faced with impossible situation is what this angel demonstrated. This angel demonstrated the first thing we must do when we are faced with impossible situation. Number one, find people who have higher faith than you. Find people who have a higher level of faith than you. Because this angel had a higher level of faith. And so when you are faced with a situation that is totally horrible, totally impossible, draw yourself closer to to people who are stronger, to people who know better, or to people who have gone through similar things, or to people, to people who have already passed through that, or to people who have already passed through even more difficult things, or to people who have stronger faith, just to people who have greater faith than you. Go to them, listen to them, let them speak into your life. When they let them speak the seed of faith into you, let them plant the seed of faith, let them speak into you, just like this angel was speaking in the seed of faith into the life of Mary. Every word of faith could knock down the wall of impossibility that you are facing. Every word of faith could pull down that boundary of unbelief and of fear that is fighting against you. So find people. That's the first law of dealing with impossible situations. When you are dealing with impossible situations, look for people of faith. Look for people of higher faith. Look for people of greater faith, and let them speak faith in you. Let them sow the seed of faith in you. Let them speak the word of faith into your spirit. Number two, when you are faced with impossible situation, make sure that you listen. You listen to words of faith that could strengthen you. Why? Because faith cometh by hearing. Make sure you listen more. Speak less, 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 listen more. And listen not to negativities. Listen not to words of fear. Listen not to words of discouragement, but listen more to words of possibility, to words of faith. Why? Because faith comes by hearing. Faith comes by hearing. Faith comes by hearing. So after the angel has sown the seed of faith to Mary, then look what happened to Mary. Mary responded and said, no, this angel, the final word of this angel was, for with God nothing will be impossible. So this angel is sowing the word of faith in Mary that for with God nothing shall be impossible. Then let's see the response of Mary to this. Then Mary said, behold the maid servant of the Lord, let it be to me according to your word. So Mary just submitted herself. So sometimes when you are in the situation, when you are weak in faith, when you are faced with impossible situations, when things are not working, when impossibilities surround you, when you know that you are helpless, when you know that you are weak, sometimes the best thing to do is to do like what Mary said. That's the next point, and the next point in dealing with impossible situation. The next thing you have to do is to submit yourself. And that's what Mary said here. Mary said, this is me, take me. Behold, thy maid servant. I'm the maid servant of the Lord. I'm nobody. I withdraw my right to question. I withdraw my right to argue. I withdraw my right to keep my own opinion, or to keep to my own opinion. I just submit myself. When you are faced with impossible situations, sometimes the best thing to do for you will be just to submit. Just submit and say, Father, you see that I don't believe, help my unbelief. You remember that situation in the Bible? Say, I don't believe, but I believe, but help my unbelief. That's like saying, I don't believe, just help me. The same thing that Mary is doing here. God wants you to be submitted to him sometimes. Yes, you might not believe in your head. You might have doubt in your head. But the ability to just surrender. The ability to just surrender to the Lord and say that, Father, you know what? I don't know how this works, but I just surrender to you. I don't have my opinion anymore. I just want to surrender to you. I surrender to you, Lord. The ability to surrender like that could be your deliverance. Could be your deliverance. So Mary here just gave herself submitted herself to total submission. She just submitted to the will of the Father and said, do unto me as you want. Then she continues and says, let it be to me according to your word. So it is not my faith. She agrees to the fact that I don't believe, I don't have faith for this, but By your word, let it be to me. I receive it as long as you will do it. I believe you. I don't believe myself in this situation, but I believe you. I don't believe myself in this situation, but I believe your word. I let it be to me. I receive it. I just submit myself and I receive whatever you want to do with me. I don't see how this is possible. I don't see how this will ever happen. I don't have faith for this, but I just submit to you. You are all doing. You are almighty. You are omnipresent, omnipotent. You are all powerful. Let it be to me according to your word. As soon as she said that, it means her faith has been released. Her faith has been strengthened. Then the angel of the Lord departed from her. Why? Because now the angel of the Lord has been able to bring her to a place of faith, to a place whereby she had enough faith to receive that pregnancy. Even though God could have done the pregnancy without her, like I said, God could have done that pregnancy without her. But you know what? God still needs our cooperation. God still needs us to believe. So that's just the law. It's not because God couldn't have done it. God is almighty. He will do anything he wants. But still, God needed our cooperation because this is the world and the earth that is given to under the management of man. God needs us to play our own role. And once Mary submitted and in faith like that, the angel left. So when you are filled with impossibility, just submit to God, just surrender to God, and begin to believe in his word, in his integrity, rather than in your word. So rather than in your righteousness, in your logic, in your situation, in your power. So it's a good place to be when you totally submit and say that, Father, it's not my call, it is your call right now. This is now your call. I'm just rest assured in you. So that's what Mary did. She decided to just rest in God and just rely on God and let God will come to pass in our life. The next thing that we need to do when we are faced with impossible situations is Hebrews 11:11. Let's go back to that Hebrews 11:11 with the story of Abraham and Sarah where we started. Hebrews 11:11, it says, by faith Sarah herself also received strength to conceive seed. Okay, we know the story of Sarah, right? We know that Sarah laughed when the angel spoke to her that she was going to give birth. So she also expressed some kind of skepticism. She also expressed some kind of doubt, just like Mary expressed. She expressed the same kind of doubt. And because of that doubt, the angel of God had to stick to her as well and begin to sow into her also word of faith. And eventually, just like Mary, eventually submitted and said, okay, let it be unto me according to your word. So also there was a point of submission and a lesson that we could learn from Sarah as well. Despite our unbelief, despite our doubt, despite our ridiculing laughter at the suggestion that at 89 she was going to be pregnant and she was going to give birth next year at 90. Despite all the doubts she had in her mind, after the work of the relationship with the angel, let's see where our faith came through. Because here, Hebrews is commending her for her faith. And the book of Hebrews, and this is God's word, is saying that she had faith. So we know faith, the same. We are all going to go through different situations in life. There will be times that you doubt. You don't need to hide it. You don't need to be ashamed that you doubt. Every man of God, all the great men and the women in the Bible, they had similar situations when they had to doubt. So don't be afraid to be truthful to yourself. Don't be afraid to say things the way they are. Like word of faith kind of charismatic people. They used to say, oh, don't say you have headache. Don't say you have headache. You don't have headache. No, you don't have headache. Don't say you are sick. It's your enemy that is sick. No, well, these are just superstitions. These are the patriarchs of faith. And they didn't hide it. They were not pretending that, oh, it's not me, I don't have headache, or it's my enemy that has headache, or it's somebody else that has headache, oh, I'm not sick. They were truthful enough, and they were sincere enough, and they were real enough to tell the truth about their situation. Even the mother of Mary, I don't think you are greater than the mother of Mary, or that you have more, but she was sincere, and she came out and said, I don't believe that this will ever happen. But if it is in our time today, we are so controlled. We are so much under religiosity that we are thinking, oh, don't speak anything negative. Don't speak anything negative. Why could you say negative? No, don't speak anything negative. No. Just be real. The negative thing you are saying the reality. The most important thing is for you not to remain there. The most important thing for you is to tell us what you are feeling. Then come higher and believe the word of faith that is being spoken to you now, and take yourself higher. Because if you don't properly diagnose your situation, if you don't properly admit the situation you are in right now, if you don't first admit that this is my faith level is at 0, I don't believe right now, I am right now at a low level. If you don't admit it, it will be difficult for God to help you. That is not faith when you are feeling one thing and you are denying it, and you say, okay, I'm not going to admit it, even though you are feeling it, but you are telling lies, and you are saying, no, I don't feel it. You are having a headache now. No, I don't have a headache. No, I don't have a headache. So why should you be super religious like that, super spiritual? Even the patriarchs of faith, like Mary, like Abraham, that's the father of faith. They all had moments of doubts and moments of confusion, and they came out and spoke about it. And the angel didn't say, why should you speak negative things? Don't ever speak negative. They just started sowing into them. But they would not have sown into them if they had not expressed their true situation. Their true their true state of heart. So once they express the true state of mind, their true state of heart, they admitted their fault, they admitted their weakness. Once they admitted their weakness, now the angel could come and help them. Do you know there are so many Christians who are dying physically, just because of this doctrine. The doctrine that don't ever confess the negative. Don't ever confess negative. So somebody is having a stroke, is having a stroke or hemorrhage in the head or something, and he's saying, they say, oh, you are sick. No, I'm not sick. You are sick now. Oh, no, it's just a small headache. No, I don't have a headache. By the time you realize it, they couldn't, before they get to the hospital, they are dead because they are denying it. No, I'm not sick. Tell the truth. Just say the thing the way it is right now. Tell us the way it is so that we will know how to believe with you. Tell us the way it is so that we will know what word to speak into your life. Tell us the way it is so that we will know how to support you. Tell us the way it is so that we'll be able to diagnose your true situation. People die. People die every day because they have been taught that anything, they couldn't even put their mind to say anything negative. Even if that negative is a reality. But in the Bible, everywhere, people don't say that the reality is one thing and we are denying it. Or they say, yes, this is the reality right now. Just like Sarah. Yes, I don't believe. And she didn't just say, I don't believe. In her own case, she said, I don't believe, in a very mocking way. In fact, let's go and check it. Genesis 18:10. Genesis 18:10. Genesis 18, I think from verse 10. Okay, and from verse 10 says, the angel says, I will certainly return to you according to the time of life, and behold, Sarah, your wife, shall have a son. Then Sarah was listening in the tent door, which was behind the angel. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and Sarah had passed the age of childbearing. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I have grown old, shall I pleasure my Lord being old also? And the Lord said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I surely bear a child since I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will return to you according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, no, but you did laugh. And see, so this was a situation here with Sarah. Because she didn't believe it, and she was truthful about it. And she was not just truthful about it, she was actually laughing at the Lord, because these were not just ordinary angel here. This was the Lord was here with them. And we were laughing, but this is not true. So she expressed her truth, but because she she spoke her mind, she was thinking she was doing that in her mind, and because she expressed her doubt, thank God she expressed that doubt, because she expressed that doubt, the angels could deal with it. They saw a doubt and they could deal with a doubt. But when you deny your doubt, there's no opportunity to express that doubt. Even though Sarah later lied and tried to cover up, the way all of us do sometimes. That, oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't laugh or that. But she was, it was too late. They had already seen a doubt, and she had already expressed a doubt anyway. So, but thank God she expressed that doubt. Because she expressed that doubt was able to be addressed, So what I'm trying to say is that there is this doctrine in Christianity that says no, you don't ever say what you feel. Don't ever express your true feeling at this point. Thank God that Sarah expressed a true feeling, which was that of doubt and ridiculous laughter. She was actually laughing that this is impossible, this is rubbish, what you were telling me. But thank God she did, because that is what now made the angels to really address that and remove that doubt from her. And as a result, she eventually believed. Now, in the history in Genesis, we didn't see that she eventually believed. But let's go back to Hebrews 11:11 again. Then you will see that actually she eventually believed, because God needed that faith to be able to deliver the miracle. God needed her to believe, and that's why the angels walked upon her until she believed. How do we know she believed? Well, let's look at Hebrews 11:11. By faith, you see, God is not lying on Sarah that she had faith. By faith, Sarah herself, Sarah had faith eventually. She got faith. After, she's been corrected, she eventually got faith. So by faith, it is that faith that made her to conceive and to receive strength. Even though God was going to make her get the baby, but she had to receive that strength. By faith, she received that strength to give birth at age 90. But at what point, what helped her? What was the reaction of faith? What is that? No, what do you call it? Tipping point. What was the tipping point of her faith? Look here. You see it here. The tipping point of her faith is in verse 11 of Hebrews 11, because she judged him faithful who had promised. You see, she still had a doubt in her mind. She still had a doubt in her mind. She still didn't believe. She was still not convinced, but she decided to submit. This is how you deal with impossible situations. Similar to how Mary dealt with her own impossible situation. She said, okay, even though I don't believe, but she presumed and assumed that he that has promised is faithful. So since you are the one who has promised it, and I believe rather in your faithfulness, not in my own logic, not in my doubt, not in how I'm feeling, not even in my body, I will rather submit to your faithfulness. I will rather submit to what you have said. She submitted. She accepted. She gave up. She decided to just rely on the faith of God. She decided to rely on the faithfulness of God. She submitted to his faithfulness. She gave up and just said, okay, I withdraw. I submit, just like Mary did. When you and I are faced with impossible situation, my friends, sometimes we doubt. We still have our doubt in the mind. Mary still had a doubt in her mind. Sarah still had a doubt in her mind. But they submitted to the one that has promised. They submitted to the one that has promised. They submitted to the one that has promised. That is how to come out of situations. That is how to deal with the doubt of the mind. You submit to the one that has promised. You Even though you don't have faith in yourself, but you begin to have faith in the faithfulness of the one that has promised, in the almightiness of the one that has promised, in the mightiness, in the love of the one that has promised, in the faithfulness of the one that has promised. That you don't believe, I don't believe in myself, but I trust in your faithfulness. I don't believe in myself, but I rely on your faithfulness. Here we see when she doubted, she looked at her situation. And Mary also, she was looking at that situation when she doubted. But they decided to remove their eyes from their situation and then focus their attention now on the God that has promised. Same, that's another point that we need to make for ourselves. We just need to remove ourselves. Just take that decision to remove your eyes from the situation that you are in and just focus more on the faithfulness and on the one that has promised. Faithful is he that has promised. So they removed their eyes from their situation, and they fixed their eyes and their attention at the reputation of him that has promised. They decided to hinge their faith and their belief on that. Father, you are the one who said it, or you are the one who said it. I don't believe it. You said it, so I believe you. I believe you. So when our own doubts are overwhelming to us, when our own doubts are killing us, you know what we can do? Just hang on to the faithfulness of God and just focus on him. Focus on his faithfulness, and his faithfulness will see you through. And his faithfulness will see you through. So remove your eyes from your own doubt. Remove your eye from your own situation and focus on him. That is how these people were able to turn their situation around. And, they were able to be the testimony, the fathers of faith that we are now emulating today. Well, that is it. My time is up. And if you have not shared this link, please go ahead and share the link. I'll let you go. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye.